Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by BookLover83. The original OP is Flusterflux, posted originally to r/Confessions August 22nd, 2022. I got fired for accidentally being an asshole to the company owner's disabled daughter. This happened on Friday. I've been drowning my sorrows all weekend, dreading the fact I have to start looking for a new job. Explaining why I got fired from my old job is going to be fun. I'm typing it up here to try and organize my thoughts in my head because right now, it's all a mess. I had been with the company for 3 months and was still on orientation. My job was sales/advertising. As the new guy, I was given existing accounts to manage, which consisted of providing customer service and convincing my clients to spend more money on advertising. All of these accounts already had their ad campaigns done, and if they wanted something new, the account was transferred to a senior account manager who would work with our advertising guys to put something together for the customer. Eventually, I hoped to have that job, but I had to pay my dues by proving I could maintain existing accounts and convince them to spend more money first. Everything was going great until last week when we were scheduled to have our quarterly retreat. Since we were the main regional office in the area, all of the employees from the satellite locations came to our office for the retreat. The owner of the company rarely visits our office. He's been overseeing the setup of a new satellite office for the last year, according to my coworkers. But he was there for the retreat, as was his disabled daughter, Amy. Not her real name for the sake of privacy. One of my coworkers told me Amy works at one of the satellite offices and I probably wouldn't have much interaction with her, but I should be nice. That seemed like a no-brainer. I'm nice to everyone, regardless. I won't claim to be an expert on Amy's disability, but it seemed like she had childlike mannerisms and struggled with expressing herself. She also had some problem with motor skills. I'll describe the only interaction I had with her prior to the incident. I went to refill my coffee and Amy was in front of me, getting her coffee. I watched her struggle with getting condiments added and putting the lid on, so I politely asked if she needed any help. She thanked me. She said she did and let me finish making it. While I was making it, she said she hated coffee, but her dad made her drink it because she had to, in a loud voice. Always alert! I smiled, said that was definitely important, and handed her the cup. She thanked me again and went back to the office her dad was using, where she had been most of the day. I felt like I had been a good Samaritan and went on my way. Most of the retreat is team-building exercises. Prior to the incident, Amy only participated in the puzzle race, where groups put puzzles together without the box art to see which team can finish faster. Amy wasn't in my group, so I didn't have any interaction with her there. Neither of our teams won. The big event, and the one that everyone seemed the most excited for, was the last activity of the day. Our boss gave us a list of potential clients. We were supposed to select 3 as a group and put together something to attract the customer. We were told we would be judged on our creativity. My group explained that we could do pictures, slogans, jingles, whatever we wanted. Each person expected to work on one individually, then work with their group to polish it up before it was presented to everyone. It was kind of a big deal because at previous retreats, there would be clients on the list the owner was already close to bringing on board, and if you impressed the owner, you might just land that account. I went with a jingle, rhymed a few words, and recorded it. It was silly, but fit the brand. My group gave me some pointers, we made some improvements, and I recorded the final product for submission. I helped my team with their projects until it was time to turn everything in. After everything was turned in, we gathered in the big conference room to critique each other. The owner went through them one by one. If it was a picture or storyboard, he'd put it up, read it, and we'd make comments, good or bad. There were some that were great, which drew a lot of compliments, and some that were really bad, which we laughed about as a group. You could tell the senior account managers didn't care much about the exercise or put much effort into their pitches. Nobody seemed to get upset or offended, regardless of the feedback. When my jingle was played, it got a lot of comments. Not all of them good. And I took the feedback with a smile. After getting my feedback, I felt a little more comfortable about sharing my thoughts on other presentations. I gave what I thought was valuable feedback to a few products, laughed at a couple others, and then a rather crude drawing was put up for the exact same company I had chosen. I immediately joked that, well, at least my jingle was better than that. Did a 3-year-old draw it? And laughed. To absolute silence. I was really confused because plenty of people had made jokes and everyone laughed. Instead, a few people looked at me like I was disgusting, and the owner said, well, if you don't have anything nice to say, keep it to yourself, maybe. Then my boss scooted down to where I was sitting and told me I needed to go to my desk now. I noticed as I was gathering my things that the owner's daughter was red-faced and starting to tear up. The team building exercise was over for me. I went back to my desk and it began to sink in that the drawing must have been drawn by the owner's daughter. There was no warning or anything. The owner didn't reveal who put together what we were looking at until after a few critiques. Maybe I should have known? Everyone was joking and having fun up to that point. Someone else had a pretty bad drawing that got laughed at. Either way, I felt awful. As soon as the event was over, I approached my boss to apologize. He told me to wait for him in his office. Long story short, I was fired. My boss said since I was still on orientation, he decided I wasn't a good fit for the company, so it was better to let me go now. He didn't outright say I was being fired for making fun of her drawing, but that's literally the only thing that I've ever gotten in trouble for. My work up until that point had been praised. I didn't get much time to process it because my boss had already called security, who showed up fairly quickly and escorted me to my desk to gather my things before escorting me out of the building. An hour later, I got a call from one of my former teammates who asked if I wanted to join the team for a drink one last time. They needed it after the retreat and felt bad that they didn't warn me. I wasn't feeling up for it, but I wanted to try and make sense of the whole situation, so I went to the bar. In the back of my mind, I was thinking that since I'm about to start looking for a new job, a few references from former coworkers wouldn't be bad since I already won't be getting one from my boss or the owner of the company after everything that happened. The team explained that Amy comes to all of these retreats, and she always does some crude drawing like that. Everyone just sort of knows to say nice things about it and move on. One of my teammates said that once you've seen one of her drawings, you know what to look for. Well, I didn't, and nobody warned me. I started to get pretty upset that this was a known thing and everybody knew but me. But what could I do? I already fucked up and it cost me my job. The team also shared more about Amy. Apparently, she works at one of the satellite offices but doesn't really do anything. The people in charge of the office try to come up with stuff for her to do because she gets upset when she's bored. The team said the way people who worked there described it, they were basically her babysitter, so she wouldn't bother her dad all day when he spent most of his time there. And after he moved on to establish the new satellite office, he didn't take Amy with him because she liked all the friends she had at the office. They also said her dad had harassed a few single guys at the office to take her on dates, which seemed pretty damn HR inappropriate, but he does own the company. My team said Amy desperately wants a boyfriend and wants to get married, which she talks about all the time. The consensus seemed to be that there's no way she actually understands how relationships or marriage works, and her dad probably put this idea in her head to begin with. One of my teammates did joke that it wasn't a big deal because whoever married her would inherit the company since she's the old man's only kid. I wasn't really in the mood for jokes at that point after losing my job over one, so I told them I needed to go. The only thing is my former team members did say they would gladly give me a reference if I needed it, since they felt so bad about not telling me about the Amy situation to begin with. Oh, and the cherry on top? Amy sent me a Facebook friend request over the weekend. I haven't accepted it. I already upset her and it cost me my job. Part of me wants to accept it, apologize, and block her, but I'm not sure I'm ready for that either. I'm going to take a few days to get myself together and then get my resume out there. Edit, after reading all the replies, including quite a few DMs, and talking with a close friend, I've decided that I'm going to accept the friend request. I'll do an update if there's any sort of conversation. I plan to open with an apology. If she replies, great. If she doesn't, then at least I'll have a clear conscience knowing I've done the right thing. Update a Rooney. If you saw my first post, you know that I got fired because I accidentally made a joke at the expense of the company's owner's disabled daughter, Amy. During the last team building event of the day, we were pitching ideas for accounts, which included everything from jingles, my pitch, to storyboards, to slogans, to drawings. A lot of senior account managers were phoning it in, and people were making jokes about their work, which had a lot of people laughing. I got some jokes about my pitch and got a little overconfident, so when a crude drawing went up for the same account I did my jingle for, I made a joke about it. The joke was, well, at least my jingle was better than that. Did a 3-year-old draw it? My joke was met with stone-cold silence and a very negative reaction from the owner of the company. What my coworkers had failed to tell me was that Amy usually submits a crude drawing, which is a lot of work for her due to her issues, and everyone knows to say a few nice things and move on. I was new and wasn't informed, so my ignorance and inappropriate response cost me my job. After meeting with my team at a bar to begin the process of drowning my sorrows, I got a friend request from Amy on Facebook. That brings us to the update. First of all, thank you to everyone who made me laugh. The first time someone joked about me accepting the friend request, marrying Amy, and taking my revenge by inheriting the company made me uncomfortable. By the third time I saw it mentioned, I couldn't help but laugh. A lot of you gave me good advice. I appreciate those who talked about legal action and what options I had. Unfortunately, I was still on orientation with my company, which is like a probationary period. During that time, they can let me go for any reason. They could fire me for wearing the wrong color socks if they wanted. I had to sign an agreement to get employed, which stated I understood this. There's literally nothing I can do, legally. At the end of the day, I decided to have some drinks with a good friend, talk things out, and see what he would do. Dave's been my best friend since we were in elementary school. We've probably spent more time together than some actual brothers. Dave was firmly on the side of accept the friend request, apologize, and clear your conscience, man. I'm getting us another round of shots. He knows me better than anyone, and he knows that the guilt would eat me alive. I posted it here because it bothered me. I decided to take his advice and everyone here who pushed me for that as well, especially the ones that DM'd me. So, that's what I did. I accepted the friend request. I immediately messaged Amy. I said I shouldn't have made that joke about anyone's work. It was unprofessional and I was sorry. It took her a while to respond, but when she finally did, she thanked me for my apology, but said she sent me the request because she wanted to apologize since I lost my job over it. I said she didn't owe me an apology, and there was another long pause before she asked if she could copy-paste something to me. I wasn't sure what it was, but said she could. She pasted a generic message, but one she had clearly spent some time on. I don't want to type it word for word, but I'll paraphrase. Hi, my name is Amy. Please forgive me if I'm slow to respond to you. I suffered a brain injury when I was a little girl, and it takes me a while to type things out. There was more to it, but that's the basic stuff. I responded, saying it was not a problem, and she could take all the time she needed. Amy and I ended up messaging back and forth until almost 3 a.m. No, we didn't fall in love. We aren't going on a date. I'm not going to marry her for revenge so I can take her dad's company. However, I do think I would like to be friends with her. Not because I feel bad for her, but because she's a genuinely nice person. And honestly, everyone could use a few friends like that. We spent a lot of time talking about her. That's just the direction it went. So I asked questions since she seemed comfortable talking about it. Amy was in a car accident when she was a kid. She was in the car with her mom and they were hit by a drunk driver, coming back from a birthday party for one of her classmates. Her mom didn't make it, and Amy suffered a brain injury that impacts her motor skills. Because it makes it difficult for her to speak and do simple things like getting dressed, making coffee, etc., people assume she's mentally challenged. She was put in special ed because of it, but worked really hard and graduated from high school. She even wanted to go to college, but her dad didn't think it was a good idea. Her life has been difficult because it's hard for her to communicate with people. By the time she can get a fully formed sentence out, the conversation is over. She can type, slowly, but most people don't want to type when they're face to face. She even admitted that when she's not at work, she'll sometimes carry a tablet and pretend she's mute because that's just easier. We eventually circled back to the drawing and my terrible response to it. She wasn't that offended by my response because she assumed I didn't know. She got upset primarily because she knew all hell was about to break loose and she had no way to communicate with anyone. She was so upset when she found out I got fired and tried to talk to her dad, but he wouldn't listen to her. She's fully aware that a lot of people at the company just pretend to be nice to her because she's the owner's daughter. But she does have a few friends at the satellite office where she works who better understand her disability. She gets frustrated because she can't truly contribute anything, but is happy when they're able to find busy work for her to do. It might take her all day to do something another person could do in a couple of hours, but it's better than sitting around bored all day. She knows she's a burden and a bother to her dad when he's around, but he's her dad and she loves him. She wishes every single day she was a daughter he could be proud of rather than a burden. She tries talking to him via emails and text messages, but he usually doesn't respond. If they're in the same location, he'll just walk over and respond verbally, which is frustrating because it becomes a one-sided discussion with her unable to do anything but give simple one-word answers like yes or no. She also thanked me again for helping her with coffee. She said that when she was younger, she tried to do everything by herself, but would get mad when people helped her. But now she's learned to appreciate the few who do. Most just stand there and look away, pretending to patiently wait for her to do it on her own. It was getting late for both of us at that point. Really late. It takes her a long time to respond to messages. There's misspellings. I get why someone would assume she's mentally challenged. I myself referred to her in my post as having childlike mannerisms, which was a misunderstanding on my part. When she tries to force words quickly or empathize something, she gets really loud, which makes her sound like an excited toddler rather than an adult trying to have a conversation. We ended our talk last night agreeing to talk again sometime. She asked if I had watched the first episode of House of Dragon yet, which I have. And she asked if I'd like to talk about it after she watches it. I told her I'd love to. So that's it. That's the update. Sorry to those who expected me to steal her dad's company. I'm definitely not doing that. Talking to Amy did make me feel a lot better though. I don't know how I'm going to handle the whole firing thing at my next interview, but a few of you suggested I just leave a gap on my resume, and I may just do that. I doubt there will be any future updates, but at least this has a happier ending than my first post. Too long didn't read since a few asked for it in my first post. I lost my job. But I may have gained a friend. Comment from Flusterflux, the OP. Hey everyone, I'm the original OP. Someone linked me to this, and I'm blown away by all the positive comments here. I guess I can give you a small update since so many people have read what I expected to be a throwaway confession post to help me organize my thoughts after having my life upended due to what I perceived as a joke, but was actually quite unprofessional on my part. As many have recommended, in my next job, I won't open my mouth unless I have something positive to say, regardless of what others are saying. That lesson is learned. So, on to the small update. I talked with Amy again last night. She loved House of Dragon. We talked about a few characters, and Amy picked up on some things I didn't pick up myself, so I'm gonna have to rewatch the first episode at some point. I wasn't really in the right headspace the first time I watched it anyway, due to everything that happened. Some of what we talked about last night was about me. I won't bore you with all the details because I'm not that interesting, but Amy is a saint. Saintess? She spent some time researching jobs for me and had several interesting ones for me to check out. I've decided to let myself breathe for the rest of the week, then hit the job hunt trail on Monday. I did find out some more interesting stuff about Amy. She currently stays by herself for the most part, in the house she grew up in. Her dad still technically lives there, but he mainly stays in an apartment near the newest satellite office. Amy thinks and actually hopes he has a girlfriend, but he denied it when she asked. He pays the bills and everything, and visits periodically. She also has a caretaker who comes once a week to help as needed, but Amy says she doesn't really need one because she can order everything she needs online, gets her groceries delivered, etc. Part of the reason she spent the entire day in her dad's office during the retreat was because she misses him. I've been researching augmentative alternative communication devices, and it seems like there might be some apps you can use, which I'm going to bring up since that's a quick download that could help her. Thank you to the commenter, one here and one in the original update, who mentioned Western Governors University. That seems like the exact kind of program Amy needs for school, since she can go at her own pace, and while the school seems designed for those who want to earn their degree quick, it would also allow her to take the time she needs. I don't know much about her financial situation as a whole, but she did mention she gets an allowance from her dad, which is her paycheck for working. Seems like he just pays her through the company and calls that her allowance. I didn't really pry, but I'll bring up the university at some point and let her decide if it's feasible. I'm assuming she has some financial means, either through her dad or from saving her allowance, because she mentioned she donates and volunteers at a dog rescue. That was a compromise with her dad when she asked to adopt a dog because he didn't think she could take care of it properly. I've been contemplating getting a dog myself, or was at least before I got fired. Amy suggested that I stop by the rescue when she's there and she'll help me pick one out, if I decide to do it. So yeah, I think I have a friend, and I might be getting a dog. That may have been one of the most frustrating updates to read. Not from a standpoint of, like, OP not getting their job back, but just, like, fuck. No one in this story is really a villain except for the boss/owner/dad. Dude, fuck him. Honestly, fuck some of the employees, too, for the way they look down on Amy, but it's just, I'm so mad for Amy of just no one takes you seriously because no one's willing to sit there and actually communicate with you. No one's willing to take the time to actually just let you put your thoughts down and type them out. And because no one gives you that time, they'd rather just go to you in person and put you in a position where you're just forced to give simple responses and simple answers that don't communicate how you actually feel, causing you just to be written off as busy work nepotism. But hey, at least whoever's willing to put up with the childlike nature will get to inherit the company. When in reality, this is just a poor girl who's just doing her damnedest to persevere. I hope in the 4 years that it's been that Amy's been able to at least attend or pursue some kind of higher education, because I want her to shove it to her dad. Fuck that guy. Like, seriously, show your daughter you care and actually listen to her and spend some time with her. In the end, though, good on OP. I hope in the 4 years it's been, they've continued to keep in contact. Amy just sounds like a wonderful person who's unfortunately been overlooked. This post was clicked by Father Son Holy Toast, and their tagline is, Dollar Store Jean Valjean. I still don't know if I pronounced it even close to being right. The original OP is Dumb Car Accident, posted to r/legal advice almost a decade ago at this point, March 23rd, 2017. I caused an accident a year and a half ago. Injured party refusing settlement from my insurance company. She's demanding that the money come from me so that I know the pain she feels. I'm dealing with a smallish insurance company, and they've been wonderful to work with, and they've been communicating with me. They told me that I do not need to take any further action at this point in time, but I wanted to get some understanding as to whether or not this lady has any legal ground to stand on. A combination of nasty weather, my unfamiliarity with the area I was driving, and my speed on my part caused me to be at fault for a car accident. I ended up rear-ending a woman. My car is a 2008 Honda Civic. Her car is a 2014 Ford Expedition, at around 35 miles an hour on a 25-mile-an-hour road. She was moving about 10 to 15 miles an hour at the time of the rear-ending. My car was totaled. Her car needed barely $2,500 worth of repairs. This woman has racked up what amounts to something on the order of $25,000 worth of medical bills. This spans chiropractic appointments to home and doctor's office-based physical therapy, etc. Her medical insurance has covered all of this at this point. Last week, my insurance company reached a verbal agreement with her and her lawyer for $40,000. She's now refusing the money from the insurance company. She's demanding that the money come from me personally. She thinks that this will help me learn my lesson. My insurance company shared with me a letter she wrote them, a 12-page front and back, what I'm calling manifesto. No, I'm not posting it here. I would also like to point out that she's 24 years old, and the letter makes it sound like she's an 84-year-old woman on her deathbed with all her listed ailments. I'm not trying to diminish whatever pain she's in, or I think she's in, but come on, right? So, does she have any legal standing on her demand that I pay versus my insurance pay her? A comment from OP on the post. She made it very clear in her letter that unless we can prove the money came from my bank account, she will refuse the funds. Update. So the lady I hit for several weeks refused to take the verbally agreed upon settlement, and my insurance company put it in on the back burner. In June, they gave her 30 days to respond or they would rescind the offer. In the middle of June, she hired a lawyer not connected to her insurance, rather a personal injury attorney. I got a letter from the law firm telling me that I was going to be sued if I did not compensate their client the $40,000 she thinks she's owed from the car accident. I kicked the letter off to my insurance company. I first called, then emailed it. My adjuster that I was working with had an audible sigh after I read him the letter, then a strained chuckle. We'll take care of this. I heard back from them on Wednesday the 5th. They sent all documentation of the accident, the audio recording of her verbally agreeing to the settlement amount, and her manifesto to her newly hired attorney. They apparently also included a note that stated that they were giving her until the end of June to accept the money, or they would rescind the offer if she did not get this taken care of soon. My adjuster called me this morning to tell me that the issue has been resolved. She has signed an agreement yesterday that she cannot sue if she takes the money. According to my adjuster, they re-offered her the $40,000 because of two things. Primarily, they wanted this to just go away, and they did not want to be sued for more. Second, they apparently know this personal injury attorney. He requires a very high contingency percentage, and this woman essentially played herself by hiring someone that was not necessary. He collected on her behalf and took his cut. That's all I know. So yeah. Issue resolved, and my insurance has jumped up a small bit in cost due to the accident. Imagine being so self-confident, self-assured, or whatever the hell you call this, that you would rather not take the $40,000 settlement and instead be so gung-ho on some random personal vindication conquest that you would actively pursue this, hire a personal injury attorney who's probably going to take a pretty hefty cut off the top, and now you're out God knows how much money because of this. OP acknowledged they were in the wrong. This was a slam dunk $40,000 settlement. But no! Stubbornness, pettiness, feigned superiority, and a shit ton of idiocy makes for one hell of a drug. I just know that injury attorney was licking his chops as he took this case. There's a reason those motherfuckers have so many billboards. This post was collected by, and this is their username, Sociable Schizo, the Saga of Sam. That guy at a local hobby store. The original OP is user KRokon, posted to r/RPG horror stories. Oh, that's right. I grabbed one of these for you guys. Sam, the DM who wanted to force me into handing my character sheet to someone else. This happened a couple weeks ago, with several hobby stores reopening for smaller tournaments. I found a game that Sam admitted would last several sessions as a new book, Wild Beyond the Witchlight, was coming out, and he wanted to run something that was considered filler. I played a kobold character that I was attached to. I almost said attracted. Get out of my head! I played a kobold character that I was attached to. I'm talking about writing lore and how connected he was to a faction. I still occasionally draw them. He was enjoyable to play and even brought a smile to one of the other players. Anyway, the first couple of sessions didn't go wrong until Sam informed me that he was moving the game to his house. I believe it was because another player was joining and that it was easier to host the game at Sam's place instead of the store. From the hobby shop, it takes an hour to reach Sam's house. The place I lived at is far, and it would take an hour to reach the hobby store. This meant that driving to Sam's game would take 2 hours. I told Sam that I wouldn't be able to make it to future sessions, and I thought that would be it. Things can change and complicate a schedule or place to meet. Since no one else minded, I left the game. However, Sam wanted my character and asked for my character sheet, the kobold, because he was going to hand it to the new player. I spent time developing them, so I told Sam that I didn't want to give them up. This is the first time that Sam shows aggressive behavior towards me as he gets into a brief argument with me. He said I would delay things for the newcomer, and other things that attempted to paint me as the bad guy. I'm thankful for the store employees who stuck up for me and told Sam that he wasn't entitled to the kobold. And for those of you wondering, kobolds are just little lizard people. They're like 2 or 3 feet tall. Sam gives me a look like I was in the wrong and walks out of the store calmly. I don't think Sam realizes how people can be attached to these characters they made, and that giving them up would mean passing the rights of their creation to that new player. The next week comes by, and one of Sam's players, that I played with previously, tells me that I dodged a bullet. I need to be honest, this guy seemed petty over something that happened with him and Sam, so I don't fully believe what he told me. This is another thing. Take things if they seem off with a grain of salt. He told me that Sam was arguing with other people over a rules dispute, which ended in Sam having a meltdown. People started walking out, but Sam tried to prevent this by standing in front of the driveway so no one could drive off. They're held there for a few hours until they're able to convince Sam that they were going to call the authorities. From what I heard, the guy who told me this story had a record for being a problem as well. Part 2. The Return of Sam. Sam was fine after he moved back to playing in the store. He didn't DM as much, and if he did, he would play with other players. We didn't talk much, and if we were sitting at the same table, we would also make peace with each other. The person who told me about Sam's meltdown stopped showing up, and Sam's never made any mention of him either. I thought the past drama was over. I was wrong. One day, a brand new DM shows up. He's around the age of 15 to 16 and invited people to play in a one-shot that he created. Josh tells everyone that he's new to DMing. I join the table to help Josh, since he was also asking for feedback when the first session was over. We sit down and Sam joins us. The one-shot dealt with a band of marauders flying around on insects and stealing all of the food from various farms. As adventurers, our job is to find the source of this infestation and put a stop to it. Josh sends out a horde of goblins riding giant wasps, which implies that they're behind the attacks. There was an issue with this fight in that the party couldn't deal with them, and that they're all level 1. These goblins can fly up to avoid melee, and not everyone had a bow they could shoot with. I think that Josh assumed that we could handle this fight, but it ended with a total party kill. We all understood and offered advice to Josh, except for Sam, who was enraged. He tells Josh that he's a horrible DM. We explain that Josh is new and that mistakes like this can happen when someone is learning. Sam makes it a mission to antagonize Josh as he says that he wouldn't make this kind of mistake as a new DM and how he probably didn't read the stat block. I call Sam out and tell him that he's being an asshole. Sam doubles down and continues to list Josh's flaws in a toxic manner, which turns into an argument at the table. Josh grabs his things and leaves silently, while Joe, another player, is so upset that he stands up and approaches Sam with the intent to harm him. We all tell Joe to sit down, saying that it wasn't worth it, but Joe wanted to beat the shit out of Sam. The owner quickly stops things from escalating any further and tells Joe to sit back down, threatening to ban him permanently if he assaulted anyone. He then demanded an explanation, as Sam's attitude had caused everyone to start looking at us. After we explain the situation, Sam is pulled to the corner of the store, and we only assume that the owner is scolding him. Time passes and Sam walks back to the table, grabs his things, and leaves. He comes back next week, but is more quiet when he does so. Josh would eventually return, but upon his return, Sam wasn't allowed to play at his table anymore. Too Long Didn't Read, Sam is fine for a while, but when an inexperienced DM returns, he berates them for making mistakes until they leave the store. He gets scolded by everyone, including the store owner. Part 3. Sam gets the boot. It's hard to believe that I'm talking about Sam again already. You would think that he would be smart to stay below the radar after what happened, but not even a month later, the nightmare was gone. I also witnessed him being thrown out firsthand. Like I previously mentioned, Josh had made a surprising return. He said that everything was water under the bridge and that he didn't have a grudge against Sam. He still comes to the store and likes to participate in playing various games. One night that the ban happened, I was sitting at another table where we finished a module that the DM was running for us early. Since there was still time left, I go over to where Joe is playing and decide to watch his session. Sam is sitting there as well. Sam is chuckling and is having a good time from how the DM is role-playing a bugbear. He isn't taking the game seriously like he usually does, so I thought he may have learned his lesson from the incident. I was wrong. Again. Everything changes when the session ends and a magic item is at stake. For those who don't know, Adventure League has a rule for magic items and that you have to roll a d20 against another player who wants it. Sam lost the roll, and he returns to his usual toxic self upon being denied a figurine that could transform into a giant owl, which also served as a flying mount. He isn't happy about losing, and is used to getting what he wants. He's spoiled, and feels entitled to the figurine. He asked the winner for it, and even offered to trade other things in exchange for it. This is perfectly fair, but the player told him that he didn't have anything he wanted, and Sam goes quiet upon realizing that he isn't getting the item. He gives the winner a glare, which I catch, as we talk. The DM wishes everyone a good day, leaves, and this is when Sam finds the chance to speak against the winner of the figurine. He tells them that they should watch out because they could be jumped on the way to their car. Everyone hears this, and 3 players get up from the seat to quickly inform the owner. Sam follows them and tries defending himself. The owner tells Sam to shut up and let others speak. The 3 players tell him about the threat that was made. Sam tries to get out of it by saying that he was only joking. He empties his pockets and says he doesn't have a knife or a gun, which meant that it was a joke, right? The owner isn't having any of it. The incident with Josh was Sam's final warning, as he had gotten into trouble before I even met him. He pulls a Christian He pulls a Christian when he is told to never come back by accusing the owner of hating disabled people. He also accuses everyone of targeting him constantly, which results in an argument between him and a man trying to run their business. During the argument, the owner mentions how he had been nice to Sam up to this point. He had given him several chances, but making threats that were targeted to other people is where the line has to be drawn. It gets even weirder. Sam tells the owner to follow him to his car to prove that he wasn't armed, which wasn't the point of the discussion. It ends with him walking out and giving everyone his iconic death stare, before he runs back and kicks the table that Joe was sitting at multiple times. Thank Bahamut, we packed our miniatures. Sam then runs away to his car and takes off. He hasn't tried to come back since, so I believe he knows that he isn't welcome anymore. The owl figurine player was also escorted for safety on that night, and that was that. Too Long didn't read, Sam is used to getting what he wants. He gets angry at someone for winning a dice roll and makes a threat against them for winning. Gets kicked from the store permanently. Part 4. A Sam update. I have an update on Sam, and it is a doozy. If you want a brief summary of the previous posts, Sam did the following. 1. Sam got angry with me when I refused to hand my character sheet over after I dropped out of his game due to being attached to my character. 2. Sam was toxic towards a new DM, Dungeon Master, who was inexperienced. 3. He made threats about jumping a customer that got him kicked out of the hobby store that I played at. After winter was mostly over, I ran into Sam at my childhood park. We didn't speak with each other, but I saw him in the bathroom building off in the distance. He was also accompanied by 3 people that I didn't know. I was surprised that he was even there, but I ignored him, and he mostly ignored me. However, one time I saw Sam pointing me out to his friends. I could imagine him saying the following: "There's the asshole who didn't give me the character that she owned." Again, I planned to ignore Sam, but I felt a little paranoid by seeing him do that. This is the same person who threatened to attack someone over a fictional magic item. It could have been an empty threat, but you may never know. Whenever I walked around the park from that point on, I would see Sam and his friends by that bathroom all the time. I always used the opposite restroom because of that. Thankfully, Sam didn't do anything creepy, as I know. The worst thing is that he gets into an argument with one of his friends, but that's about it. One day, I sit down at the picnic table and have lunch from the nearby Wendy's when I'm approached by one of Sam's friends. He told me that he dropped out of Sam's D&D campaign because it was weird and didn't feel like it was actually Dungeons & Dragons. He also told me that while I wasn't the main target, Sam always stated that I was associated with the hobby store and its owner. He had a serious grudge against the owner and was telling everyone that he was being discriminated against because he wasn't good at D&D. It gets even better. Sam claims that he was banned because he sucked at board games and how the owner was toxic because Sam was not playing in the right way. Getting really annoyed by this, I tell him what really happened. And he isn't surprised. I am, however, surprised when he informs me that Sam was hosting a D&D campaign where everyone, including me, was the bad guy. It turns out that this random person knew my name because Sam had given it to him. The main premise was that he used real names, including mine, and had the store owner as the main antagonist. Sam roleplays store owner as an elitist noble who sent out guards to hunt for and brutally murder people who were disabled. Yes, you read that correctly. He was using real-life disabilities as a plot point and having the store owner attacking those who were on the spectrum. God damn it! I was portrayed as a guard who was working for the noble. I would break into houses and steal trading cards from children. Yes, trading cards. In the end of the campaign, everyone kills the elitist noble, and Sam describes his death in horrific detail, such as blood and skin peeling away. The more I listened to this, the more I couldn't believe it. In this situation, I don't have proof, but it's also Sam, and I wouldn't be surprised if he really pulled something like this. I have to ask, what should I do in this situation? Should I leave Sam be, or should I tell the owner that Sam is spreading these false stories? So, while this is 4 years ago, in a situation like this, it's just best to leave Sam be, because they're just going to burn every single bridge that they come across because the bridge wasn't perfectly constructed or wasn't transporting exactly what he wanted. So therefore, friendships get cut off. You don't really need to tell anyone about Sam because there's not really going to be anyone to listen to Sam as time continues to go on. God damn, it has been a long time since I've played D&D. I really do miss it. I might from time to time try to throw some RPG horror stories in for the best of so I can find ones that fit. But a lot of people forget that D&D is one of the many forms that we have access to for self-expression, and unfortunately some people, when given the power to self-express, they become cruel, they attack others, they have power trips, and they, well, behave like this. While people like Sam only make up a fraction of those who actually play tabletop games, whether it's card games or whether it's Warhammer or Pathfinder or D&D, because they exist and because they're the squeakiest gear, these are the kinds of people that first come to mind when my dad, as an example, thinks about the people who play D&D. So it makes it hard to tell other people that this is a hobby of yours that you participate in. Hey, GamerSubs is doing Christmas in July right now, where if you buy tubs, you get free stuff, up to $250 in free gifts while supplies last. I've pretty much got every single video that I have uploaded on my vacation set to have this outro, so hopefully supplies last up until I get back. But yeah, definitely take a look at this if this interests you, and if you've been looking to snag up a good amount of tubs, then definitely do so. And use code KEYZ at checkout for 10% off of the tubs you're going to be buying to get more free stuff. So hey, it's a win-win!